Like I said,
Yeah.
bro.
Well,
No, hey, the thing is, I'm spitting facts, dude. I mean, lying. That's the problem. If people can't handle the fucking truth, go jump in front of a bus or come on out to the village. Bring that. I ain't gonna fucking lie. I'm just telling the truth, bro. What I hear and what I see here, it's kind of sad. We can change the subject because it's depressing, really. That's all I
I
gotta
think
say.
you're
It
right.
just
I think you're 100% right. I don't think you can take outdoor genetics and bring them inside, breed them for any amount of time, and think that it's gonna work out well for you.
I'm saying one time indoor, no big deal. If the cultivars got the genetic locked in there from, I don't know. I just know greenhouse and outdoor. That's all I rock. If it's pouring rain, it's in the greenhouse. If it's fucking wintertime here and it's not raining, or same with Cali, I never rocked indoor. I did once, and I was like, this is pathetic. You know what I mean? Production and just and the price of what you pay for what you get, it's
well,
just a joke.
wait a minute. We're talking about number, okay? If you breed outdoor, the number that you would use indoor for popping seeds would be what? 100, maybe 200 seeds. It start to be a big breeding project for indoor, right? If we talk outdoor, that's a small patch. And
I
the
mean,
plant
dude,
that you're
one
gonna
nice
get on the
sized
small
plant,
patch,
one
wait a
good
minute.
sized plant, you get it 30, 40,
Not
50,000 seeds off one plant.
yeah, no, but wait a minute. You go outdoor. You plant a small
Plus, the
patch of
seeds are two,
200 here,
three times the
200
size.
there, 200 there. Okay, the same freaking variety, same variety. Okay, you got 600 plant total, and you're gonna find maybe two, three really good one by 100. So each patch, you may have a good pairing, but maybe you have just a nice male there, and all the female are good enough for people indoor to breed with, but will surely not be the best in the patch and the more resistant and having all the good characteristic you want with it that you breed that strain for. So you need a lot
Right.
more plant to go toward your goal. But the plant that you get from the right pairing in it are always super strong. And sometimes you hit some of those subline that are having a better percentage of good plant, right? But when you're talking about the indoor breeder, they talk that, oh, we have a good proportion of good plant from that line, and they they bottleneck that to an extreme or cross that to so many things that what the characteristic that it was bred for outdoor, beside being good to smoke, was maybe good in that type of climate. Well, that thing being diluted in your breed, and you don't know if it's still there in the plant, you're gonna have all the good characteristic to smoke it. So it pissed me off when all those people are thinking that because it's the hype. Oh, it come from that place. It's flowering. It flower quick. It made shit for me flower quick. If you put it outdoor, it may start to flower in September. It may be
Yeah, my kids
quick,
need
dude,
that.
but it will be too late. Fishy peas. Holy. Is that the thing you buy for your kids?
Yeah, yeah. I had some.
This is
Wow,
America.
how times have changed. Jeez. Fisher Price is getting mafioso.
Well, get call it.
Straight gangster. Jeez.
When I was at that age to play with Fisher Price, we've learned that frying egg was like your brain on drugs. So I know now that I need some toast and some bacon and maybe some potato with it, and my brain will be healthy. But I did not know that when I was a kid.
This is your brain on drugs. I was like, I love egg.
Say no to
Egg would be
drugs.
good
I
right now.
said no to drugs, but the dealer doesn't listen.
No way.
So, Kenneth, last week we had a couple news from Thailand that we had the wish that you could have been around to tell us about it. But I don't know if you pick it. There was a Russian guy that have been cut by his girlfriend, and he went in the field naked and end up trying to, go by behind on a cow, and the cow have just attack him, and let's say her horn was in his bottom.
Yeah, they
And
do that. The Brahmas here, they don't play, and the water buffalo. I stay away from those things, man.
yeah, but you don't have to be naked and try that kind of thing on animal first. And if the animal get his revenge on you, I think
All
it's
right, but
karma.
I think it's clear that it would be way less chance of it happening. Like he had clothes on. Cow knew he was in fucking danger.
Well, I think they should make that crocodile guy try to fuck a water buffalo.
No.
That could
Last week.
be.
Oh, Canada wasn't here for that.
Nah.
No, he wasn't, man.
There's a guy, there was a crocodile expert we were talking about last week that had got caught raping dogs to death. And we were all joking, oh, they should just feed him to the crocodiles. Since he's a crocodile expert, he should just be crocodile food.
Yeah.
Scary
the best.
shit, bro.
But there was what was the one from Thailand you got last week? He had some crazy article from Thailand about some animal thing.
Cow.
What was it with a cow? Something with a cow?
The
Wait
guy
a
tried to
minute.
screw the cow.
There was the shrimp. We've talked about the postal code in Canada. The dolphin. Oh, there was the
Right,
sexually
raping
frustrated dolphin.
Yes. They subsequently was also released from the Japanese SeaWorld, which
Yeah,
probably
That's why it
I'm
lives.
thinking. Here's what I'm going. That motherfucking dolphin was abused by a trainer. Not his fault. Can't help it now. The victim.
Oh, you think you've had its revenge?
The
I don't
dolphin
know,
got
man.
Harvey Weinstein.
Exactly. And once you've fallen into a life like that, you can't give it up.
I think we went far from Finding Nemo, and I don't know what was the cartoon with a dolphin, but I don't think I will watch it the same way. Look at that, man! I like your. Is
Has
that a
like the other
vegan
Mr.
kale?
Green Gene, like
I think you're growing
the
some
solo
kale.
cup champion.
No, honestly, it look a bit like. I really like that pheno. Honestly, it's really have a stranger.
So this
How
is
the
from Canada.
leaf.
This is from Canada Research. That's the Berry Freak IX. Then we've got, I believe this one right here is the. Yep, this is Final Freak right here. This is Freak Show F12.
Yeah, a tiny bit different on the leaf. Yeah.
And then right here is your teammate, Potent, that Freak Show F8 that you were running over there.
The serration are a bit more intense on that one. It's really apart from the leaf itself. That's cool.
And then, of course, we got like the shredding of this. I think this is Berry Freak. Yeah, this is the Berry Freak F4 V2. It's got all that real shredding.
Yeah, that one will be like a 50-50 kind of look.
One looks cool. It's different.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a few. There's another one right here.
It's like a boy though. They're a little stretchy.
And then Banana Berry Freak. I'd never popped this one before. This is I think this is it right here. No, that's the Berry Freak. That one's got nice shredding too. Where is that? Another berry freak. Another berry freak. The berry freak is pretty money with there's banana berry. And they
He
smell
looks
different.
similar to the berry freak, but what's different on that banana berry?
It smells different. They don't smell the
Yeah.
same. There's a berry freak right here, right? Yep, and 4B2. Nah, they don't smell the same. That's the thing. In my freakazoid, I just pop a bunch of those, but they're behind. So I mean, this is these are just regular broadleaf dominant shit. This is the Siam syrup whipped up with the freak show. I haven't tested these yet. Man, I made these a while back and I never tested them. So, but it looks like they're not, some of them are going to have that shredding and they're going to be mutated. And then I got some sour D times the OG, basically another headband whip up right here. And then I started a wave of these of the beans that I whipped up, which is the Gasper from in-house. This stuff is a stacker. It reminds me of headband, except the terp profile, but it's whipped up with a reversed OZ Kush times coffin candy out of a Doja pack. That's what they hunted, and that shit smell really good. So hats off to the pheno that he hunted out. Yeah, it smells killer. It smells like it's sour. You know what I mean? It's like a sour candy, I guess you'd say, but overridden by sour. So I started a bunch of there's probably like 15. I got to transplant these things. My God, dude, they're just hate lines for that shit.
You're saving on the
And
medium,
this
but
right here, this is Freak Show ABC. This is Freaky Bastard, but I didn't get any of the like the one you had over there, potent with they look like the ABC. This one's kind of weird, but dude, these here, I don't know what I'm gonna do with them because they're not showing what I wanted to see. I mean, I got a little bit of I don't know. I'll probably toss those things and start another round of the Freaky Bastard.
yeah, you already want those weird one, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not looking for this leaf structure, basically. You know.
But it's recessive also as a gene, so any of them that will be good female, let's say that you got, and pollinate it with the brother, you're gonna find a better percentage in the next generation. But I don't know if you want to mess like that.
Yeah. So yeah, that's what I'm running now. Is getting ready. I'm gonna send a hunt as soon as these things get big enough. I got to transplant. It's about time to get them out of those and get them into some bigger pots. And then I got to take cuts. You know, I got to take cuts off all the females and the males. I'm gonna keep in the room. Like I'm gonna do some regs, but that's just basically for myself. I'm doing feminized, basically fem freak, man. That's what I'm doing. I'm gonna try and do a ton of those, like as many as I can.
Yeah, because you're already gonna toss 90% of your population anyway.
Yep.
So you won't have to keep that much. And maybe if you keep 2, 3 male to see which one you may want to keep, but beside that, it just selection is on the female. So yeah, man,
Yeah,
I
I'll
I
probably.
like that kind of search when you can afford. Like let's say if you get the parent of your population and you can repeat that cross again and again to only select what you want from it. But if you let's say, oh, I know there's other thing I may want to hunt on it. I still have the parent to do that same batch of seeds and search again for something else. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I'm gonna whip up the the Freak Show F8, which is that pineapple pheno. Your buddy called it potent, and then the final freak. I'm gonna get that in there, refresh it with the different pheno basically, and then that Berry Freak IX. They all come out. Fern. The Berry Freak IX, I believe, is I believe, I don't know. I need to talk to
Could be the
can
line.
research, but I believe it's just another pheno of Freak Show, because none of them come out looking like that shredding or none of that. The Berry Freak F4 V2 comes out shredded, and I haven't gotten any of the Freak Show look out of the Berry Freak F4 V2. That's more of like that shredding, like the Freakazoid, so to speak. So
All I know is that he was selecting a different type like that. Like he had a lot of line, maybe all based on different morphology of leaf that he was trying to aim different weirdo, let's say. But yeah, it's really interesting those serration. One thing I've noticed is that the Freak Show really don't like the trips. They don't grow quick enough, the trips. So if you got trips, you may want to treat really the Freak Show, because they go on it and the Freak Show just starts so slow as a seedling beside other stuff. Beside that, they just go on it as and munch as crazy on the Freak
The
Show.
ones we were running in Thailand, you didn't have any thrip problems on that particular one.
No, I haven't had no thrips, man. Only thrips I saw was on that indoor, and I believe that was from either cuts they had brought in or people that they let walk into the room. That's what I think.
No, we had
Well, either that. All right, I take that back. I
on
take that back. They had a light leak. They had a light leak in the room too that was really bad. I didn't realize it until at nighttime. I went outside with my teammate and went outside and looked up to this 4-story building, and you could just see the fucking light just blaring out the cracks that they didn't have sealed. So if there's light coming out, dude, every bug in the neighborhood's gonna be trying to get in there, and they did. I believe that's the light leak was what the problem was.
Maybe may not be that good yet.
But I saw a threat problem that was like, dude, it was gnarly. The last like right before I cut out, they had 3 tables on the top floor, and I don't know, man. It had to have been the doors. They had doors, and that was a mother room. They turned into a flower room, and they had the exhaust for, I believe it was, I can't remember what it was. They had the, I think it was for the DHU or something was running out the door. They just cut a hole in the door, which is amazing. I was like, damn, dude, these people are gonna be stoked when you roll out. You're gonna have to be paying for new doors and everything too. It's so funny. But I think they got him from the door, I believe. I mean, or it could have been, from cuts. This shit happens, man. But out here in the village, I never seen thrips. Red mites, I've seen russet, red and the russet and the red mite, of course, and caterpillars, ants. It just goes on and on.
Because there's something I've noticed with different breed and some people that had trouble with trips. So let's say you have a really short Afghani, like a Bubba Kush or something like that. Some of them won't get that much of it before they get toward the end of flowering, when the plant is like in a kind of limbo that he's no longer defending himself and he's really weak, and they start to get really attacked. So by the time that you notice it, you're pretty much done. You're about to cut, and you have some tips of flower that you're, holy crap, I got some trips damage. But what I've seen is if the plant is really growing super quickly, you won't have as much problem with trips, and some texture and or flavor may, it distract them, whatever. They don't go munch on them first. But trips will attack your weakest stuff first, and when it's young, they really love it. Sometimes I start seedling of bok
The
choy
thing
or
is,
stuff like that,
Freak
and
Show
they just
starts
go on it.
slow. It starts slow, but when it comes to cuts, and once they get going, and you get it to a size, dude, they clone excellent. And when and value the clone, when you take the cut, those things boost just as fast as any other cultivar. So
The
it's
other
just from the
two,
seed, huh?
with thrips, the terpene profile matters a lot. So like they really tend to gravitate towards certain terpene profiles in certain areas. And I've also seen them too, like on pineapple cultivars, especially like Cali and Oregon, seen them go after just the pestils, right? So just the hairs and just eat the hairs off and then not touch the rest of it, right? So that's something else that I've seen a bunch of. And um, I think it's something that people need to like think about more is look at what it is that you're producing and are going after,
Right.
and then
Yeah.
seeing what they attack in your area, because that was the biggest thing, because we had them in Petravoon. We had issues with thrips, but they weren't only attacking like certain strains, they weren't attacking everything across the board.
Man, in my own garden, when they go nuts, they go on the tomato. They don't do a lot of damage on the tomato, but I was like, man, when they start to go on tomato, there's so much trips all around. It's not their first choice of meal. But beans, they like to go on it. I've started bok choy in the worst time last year, and all my bok choy have been killed by trips. And what have happened at one time, it's I just spray with a bit of saponin on my bok choy, but they had a lot of trips damage, and half of the bok choy died the next few days, and then those that were left, they've end up having some kind of root disease, whatever. And I want to look at, can trips transmit it? Yes, they can. So I've tried the same pot once the trips were infestation. I've kind of looked at like it was gone, and I've planted some beans and I've set it on the side of the window open, and they were not having as much of it. And there, after a couple of weeks, there was no trips on the beans. Like the predator have invited themselves to the party. But if I plant some radish seeds or stuff like that, they they go on it at one point and they just kill it completely. The bug choy the same thing. But I've just noticed, for me at least, it- when I start to see some, I have no choice but to get rid of those plants and treat right away. There is no need to fight them that much if it's just seedling that I have, because they will kill them by the time I can do anything. The seedling, if you vaporize anything too often on it, you just want to die. On a bigger plant, yeah, I've controlled it, but they go in the soil to plant it, and I think it's as a pupa. They bury themselves in soil. And I know that Kut was talking like just lay your soil on the ground, let it bake under the sun a couple week, and you may get rid of it and not have to throw away your soil. But yeah, I started to think at a solution the other day, and the first thing was some pyrethrin, vaporize everything, and every day with saponin. Like I think it's two
There's a
times a week
new
with pyrethrin and saponin every day.
there's a new product. It's like Bavaria Bassiana kind of. I can't remember the name of it right now,
We
but there's a
cannot
new one.
get Bavaria Bassiana in Canada for home use.
What?
No, man, it's just part of the pesticide registration.
It's
That's
fucking
like, yeah, yes, it is. It's really stupid because that's not like the dangerous stuff. I think pyrethrin can be more damageable to yourself than
You can
spraying
you can drink
Bavaria.
Bavaria Bassiana and it's not gonna hurt you. Like I don't understand what the fuck problem is.
But yeah, I tried to get it. And the other thing I remember that we cannot get is um Bayer sell it is Etafan for it's just the ethylene. to use, and I was like, well, I've remember being in some orchard, and it wasn't the produce that we had in the barn. But if I want to buy it, I cannot.
Yeah, you can't buy stuff oil X here in Canada either without a like pesticide license. Have, like,
But you can get agricultural mineral oil, I think, without it, can't you?
Yeah, we can. Yeah,
Yeah, so that's the same thing.
yeah. But the thing that also I remember was that holy crap, I've just forget. But no, there's different stuff like that. We cannot get it here because it's in the same legislation. But I think there's something a bit as a like a some kind of confusion on it for the citizen. Let's see, because that's a Monterey. The produce of Monterey that is kind of a partly systemic. I don't remember how it's called that one, but that's like an alternative to Puritan, and it work even better. I don't remember the exact name of their produce, but it's by Monterey, and I seen on Amazon they had it, so I tried to order that, but there was no way I can order that from to get shipped in Canada. Like the option to buy it wasn't there for when you're in Canada.
Just make a
So
forwarding company that handles that. Like the nematodes you can get in the UK for snails and slugs. Like you just need someone that's not in the US address to send it to forward it to the States. You know what I mean? Like find a company that'll just do forwarding for you.
yeah, well, there's a lot of produce that in fact could be of great use safely that are just in that same legislation because they want to be sure that those produce are really safe. And I understand exactly why they do that, but it just get a bit extreme on some of those produce because if I use Puritan too often and that's the only thing that I get suggested by the shop, I will just let's say if you, for the spider mite, I remember that people were having really Puritan resistant spider mite, and well, at one point one of my friend was like getting crazy because he tried to take some clone when the tip of the plant were growing faster and there was not as much damage of spider mite. So he takes a couple clone, and by the time the clone were rooted in the dome, they were starting to get whitish all around. So if set it on his balcony to hope that maybe some of the spider mite will get killed, and I want to help him. And the first thing I did is taking the clone, wrapping the pots in like the soil, and rinsing that thing with the garden hose really intensely. And one thing I would suggest before to do that is take a vacuum and just put a screen on front of it and vacuum all the leaf one by one, all the small crack on your plant, vacuum that crap, then rinse it really heavily and shake it, beat that plant like hell. And another thing is after that, you try to smush every leaf on the side between the vein. So you want maybe to have 5, 6 leaf on a small clone, and you can easily do that, and you'll be able to get rid of that really quickly.
Well, if you're just
But
trying to sterilize like Sulfoil X or agricultural
so
mineral
for
water
yeah,
when
you
you dip
you
the clones,
you dip
so
it,
when I do
yeah.
clones now, I'll just take like a bucket, like a 5 gallon bucket, or a pitcher, or a Rubbermaid tub, depending on the amount of clones that we're taking. Oh shit, that's Coot. And then I'll put the mineral oil in there or Sulfoil X, and then cut all the clones and just put them right into the water and let them soak in there while I'm taking the rest of the clones. And then they just sit in there, and that bucket just goes over to the whoever's sticking them in the trays, and that just is a way to sterilize everything. And you know that everything's been in there for a few minutes, or more. And then you don't end up with powdery mildew or thrips or spider mites or russet mites or really
But
anything.
it doesn't suffocate the roots too much when you let it drink.
No, because you're
Okay.
taking clones, right? So there's no roots on
Yeah.
them.
Oh no. Okay, just the branch
Oh,
itself.
full
Okay,
plant.
cool.
So I've used it on full plant starts as well. Like strawberry starts always come with free spider mites. So I always dip those with roots and everything. What's up, Coop?
Hey, what's going on?
Nice to see you.
Hello.
We were just talking about you earlier. Hoping that you were doing well.
Yeah. I'm back walking over 5 miles a day, so
Awesome.
I have to use a walking stick, but I don't have to use a walker. I only use that for about 10 days after the stroke. Yeah.
That's all right. We'll just get you a wizard hat and a robe. You can walk around and just be a Gandalf.
Yeah, I got something I wanted to share with our good friend here, Wes.
Sure.
Okay. Okay, Wes. Wait a second. Okay. Okay, I sent it to you. I screwed up. I tried to send it to you, Wes.
Yeah, it's on the side chat.
There you go.
That's some spiky top on it.
Yeah, that's one of my creations. And here's another one from the same. Okay.
There's
There's the
someone in
original.
the chat that asked if it's the one that you've
Yeah,
shown or
the one right there is, that's the second picture is the one.
the shorter one. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we put some plant trainers on the branches to spread out the canopy.
There we go.
There you go.
It's nice. Getting chunky.
Yeah. This guy usually averages about over 10, under 12, between 10 and 12 pounds of plant.
Nice.
Only to have some asshole at a dispensary show him some buds that were processed through a machine. You get that nice round, look like a marble.
Yeah.
They sent me a picture and said, "What do you think?" I said, "I'd tell him to go fuck himself."
They don't look like bud, they look like carved into pebble.
Probably be about as effective.
Yeah.
There you go. That's the other pic.
Yeah,
It's
those
good.
will fill in really nicely. Where these are located, they've got 2 more months. Let's see, wait a minute, this is September. No, 2.5 months, 10 weeks left. Oh, that's Coots mix, by the way.
Nice.
There was
I
some
think it looked like buckwheat on the side.
It probably is. I sent him some a mix of I don't know, 10 or 12 cover crop, where you get hairy vetch and winter rye and all that stuff. So it could easily have buckwheat in it. Buckwheat's it's not a grain, but actually it's related to the rhubarb plant. It's a seed of a plant very close related to the rhubarb. It has nothing to do with grains. But anyway.
I remember reading on that buckwheat breeding how it wasn't as advanced than any of the type of grain that we normally do.
Right.
And they were saying it's not that it's that bad, but it's just being kind of put aside for different reasons.
Well, here's something that's of interest to me. I read a couple books and also watched 2 or 3 videos, serious documentaries on the history of rice and the human race. So no other grain has been produced in such quantities for so long. I mean, you have white rice fields in Thailand and other parts of Southeast Asia that have been in production for 25 years. We haven't even been able to manage it for 75. But in this country, you have many areas where rice was grown, where it was treated with a lot of chemicals because it was grown near cotton, and cotton is one of the it's a tropical plant, so you have to apply all kinds of herbicides, fungicides, pesticides. Well, in that process, we've, especially rice grown in the southeast where you had a lot of cotton, you're going to find arsenic. But when you look at California, which has great swaths of organic, courtesy of the Lundberg family, and some of the Japanese rice producers going back over 100 years producing rice that comports to that style of cuisine, Japanese cuisine specifically. Guess what you don't find in the rice products? Arsenic and the other, I love this term, heavy metals that were introduced. But according to the stoners, rice in and of itself is a deadly plant. Yet, how many billions of people consume rice 3 or 4 times a day around the world, and they're not dying off. So,
Well, what's cool too is there's also native North American rice too, which a lot of people don't realize. The Caesania,
old rice, yeah,
yeah,
sometimes known as Indian rice.
yeah, but that's like Great Lakes and Canada.
Exactly. Yeah, usually it's a darker brown and blacks. It's multicolored. Not a great difference, but it's not a solid color rice like a brown rice jasmine or something out of.
I know there's some native tribes that are
They
make
still
most of
harvest
their
it.
income off of it. Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. Well, here's one for you. So if you took fruit and made an alcoholic beverage out of it, you would call it a wine, right? Because grapes or fruit or apple, apple wine, right?
Yeah.
So why is it that when you take grain and make an alcoholic beverage, we call it beer, right?
Mhm.
Okay. So why is Japanese rice wine called wine when it's made from rice? Wouldn't that be a beer?
Well, my other question is, there's also Sato, which is like a rice whiskey.
Mm-hmm.
So like that's like a third one that goes into that whole
Right.
confusion.
And then there's a fourth one. There's Lao Cow.
Oh yeah, there's Lao Cow too. Yeah, I forgot about who can forget about Lao Cow.
You can pour that in your motorcycle and start it. That shit's like fuel.
Are you familiar with since I know you are more into fermenting than I am, but Sandor Katz, he appeared before Congress testifying about fermented foods and what have you. So I listened to a lecture he did, and he made the comment that the human race has managed to make alcoholic beverages out of every fruit and grain that they ever came across at some point in history. So our love for alcoholic beverages is pretty deep. Yeah, there you go. They're saying, yeah. Yeah, you got to check out his writings. He's the real deal.
Awesome. I'll have to check it out.
Now he doesn't do anything close to what I don't want to get into the KNF thing, but he's the old school where you're just using like 2% or 3% salt, depending on with clear water, and the salt suppresses, you know the drill. The old fashioned way of fermenting and curing foods like salt cured fish and you know, pickles and all kinds of things like that, chilies, peppers, and what have you. It's salt and water.
Nice. Yeah. Um, the other guy who's really cool in the fermentation stuff is Nigel Palmer. If you haven't checked him out yet. So he does
No reason
like
that rings a bell.
vinegar extractions and stuff. And he has some cool one of the cool things about it is on his website. See if I can get this to load. It's not loading. There we go. He has a whole bunch of different ferments, like FB fermented plant juices and other preparations, but then he also has like the nutrient parts per million breakdown of it, so you can see like how the different methods affect the nutrients, like in terms of process. And I haven't seen hardly anybody else put this kind of data out there like this. So someone I want to just turn people on to, because it's kind of a cool blend of both worlds.
Yeah, that's a bit like what you would submit to get your produce approved. To say, okay, it get that much nutrient, whatever. But to make it like that, it really demonstrates how his method. I like it.
Yeah, but he's the one that I've seen do the most amount of work for that kind of particular stuff. He's got a really good book too on soil amendments, like regenerative soil amendments. I have a copy of it. It's pretty good. But someone says wine is more stable than beer, correct? I don't know about that.
Stable?
It
Yeah.
age better. It age
Oh,
better
wait a minute.
on
You
long
gotta,
term, but
okay. You need to qualify that.
yeah.
What constitutes beer since the end of World War II, when everything was consolidated into what, 4 or 5 national breweries that dominated the scene until the 70s and 80s, when the artisan, or whatever you want to call it, the microbrewery kicked. You know, before World War II, there were like 300 breweries in America because they were like regional, you know, to service the city or a county or something, like kind of like you have in Germany. But what's called beer today, I mean, think about how much beer an Anheuser-Busch pushes out on a daily basis worldwide. So beer prior to actually refrigeration was made in such a way that it was stable. It didn't taste like what it tastes like today. Think of one of the strongest Irish type dark ale like that. That dominated the scene, not this light beer and this horse shit. You know, it's not really beer. No, it's like a soda pop. Oh, okay. You know. So
And also,
some scratch in the game, you know.
yeah, that's just like one type of beer have been. It doesn't taste too much, so everyone can like it.
Right. I mean, come on, Coors Light, that's not beer. I mean,
Don't get me started on Coors Light. I've tried many times to get drunk with it. It never worked. Never. I don't know. Like there's 0.5% of alcohol that make for me the difference between I feel it or I don't. And with Coors Light, I get tired because my belly full, And I'm like, I've drank 4 or 5 beer. I'm supposed to have at least a buzz that make me want to continue to drink. With Coors Light, I was like, if I continue to drink, I will just barf everywhere without even enjoying to drink it. Because it's just like an aftertaste of beer. When it's really cold, you need to drink it when it's really, really cold, because otherwise you start to taste that it doesn't taste
Yes,
that good and that much. I don't know.
you can do that, or you can also drink real beer made by somebody who gives a shit. Okay, you think about it. Portland has more breweries than any city in the world, not the United States, in the world. There's over 50 microbreweries, and that doesn't mean they're all good. Believe me. But it's anything's better than comes in a bottle out of a factory where they're producing how many gallons of beer. It's even a Canadian beer like Molson. How many gallons a day do you think they produce?
I don't know. I've seen their tank and it's huge. It got
Yeah,
many
it's got
story high. Like
right.
each tank. It's
They
no,
got
it's
those
huge.
They got those black bears working real hard making that beer there at Molson.
Yeah. Well, after the beer thing got established here, and there still are. There's a couple that two brothers started it, and they must have, I don't know, 20, 25 brew pubs up and down Washington and Oregon. I'm not sure that they were the ones that started doing this, but all of a sudden, all this blackberry beer and cherry beer and who in the fuck puts shit like that in beer?
Yeah, why
I mean,
they got to stop with the cherry shit. I got a fucking cider the other day, and
yeah, okay.
it had fucking cherry in it, and I'm like, why would you
Yeah,
put fucking cherry in a
yeah,
cider? Like, what the fuck?
yeah.
Well, okay, there's a Lion pub that got a blueberry watermelon beer, and when you order a pitcher, it really smells exactly like that around on the table. It's really enjoyable, but I can understand exactly what you mean too. But I don't know. I'm on the edge for that one, because it became a trend when it get ridiculous at one point. I mean, like it can be good, but it get too much at one point.
And for
I
the
get it.
for the
I
kids
got
at
to show
home,
you something.
for the kids at home that don't remember,
Where's the half-gallon jugs? The half-gallon jugs.
What do you do?
Oh.
Wet your pants? Climb something?
Oh,
Anything? Or kick the living crap out of the bear? Well, if you picked C, you might go for the bigger taste of ale. Molson Export Ale. That's the stuff.
oh God.
Well, I think I'll
Uh,
find you another
bigger
one
than
that's
fuck.
the parody of that, of something like that. Holy crap.
So they have two big festivals here every year. One is the Brewers Festival, and these are true microbrews, not microbrews that got big and got bought out by the big international beer. That's what happened, and now they're selling them to cannabis organizations out of Seattle, out
it
of
was
Canada. Yeah,
Ambev is the used to be Anheuser-Busch and that
yeah,
European
exactly.
line.
Right. Yeah, they bought a bunch of brands like Woodmere. I mean, ones that had really made it. And being a business, you want to compete in the market and remain viable. So the big international beer companies started buying up these microbreweries. All you're doing is buying a name. It's the brand. Well, now that it kind of petered out because there's, to say the least, a lot of competition. They're now selling them, and guess who's buying them? It's the big cannabis conglomerates that run these shithead dispensaries in Canada and the United States. So went full circle. Went from hippies, started making beer, sold out to the international clowns, and now it's the guy producing the synthetic weed that goes into the dispensary. So kind of fitting.
If you end up making it down the coast ever, let me know. I'm up in Humboldt now.
I thought you were back east in hillbilly in the with the
Yeah,
hillbillies in Tennessee or some
was.
shit.
Yeah, I was in Tennessee for a bit and
Fuck.
wrapped up that project, and time to go back to Sanity Land where my neighbors don't fly clan flags.
I spent when I went there 50 years ago, 1974. I went to Kentucky, and I lasted 2 years and 2 months. And you couldn't get me back there if you had a posse and a warrant for my arrest to get me back in that state.
Dude, that's how I feel about Tennessee, man. So I've been to the Peru, Africa, Southeast Asia, the Caribbean. Nowhere has forests that is shittier than Tennessee in terms of
exactly
and biting shit and parasites and fucking tick diseases.
Oh, you mean like cottonmouth when you're out
Oh.
fishing on a river and there's a cottonmouth swimming next to your boat, or the mosquitoes and the ticks that invade your body? So you got to, when you go fishing or hunting, you got to inspect each other to find out where the ticks landed.
No, you don't. Hold on. You don't understand. You don't understand. I will show you. Hold on. Like, your legs don't look like they got shot with shotguns from the amount of fucking pellets from the fucking. That's all. Those are chigger bites.
Yeah.
It is both my legs like I got shot with shotgun pellets. Like, fuck that. Like, fuck that. Like, why is it the Amazon is not that fucking bad when it comes to bugs? Like, what the actual fuck?
I got 4 of these as a gift for my help, and they said, we want this X number of pounds. How do we do it? And I said, okay, but understand that this is a monologue, not a dialogue. Okay, so I'll tell you what you do, and then if you want to do whatever you want to do, then do it, and I don't want to hear about it. So that's how we proceeded, and set them up in 800 gallon pots and a couple 1,000. Yeah, you'd like see a 1,000. That's 5 cubic yards or cubic meters. 5. That's a lot of soil. That's basically 2.5 pallets.
I was missing half a pallet in my count.
Well, okay,
Wow.
a pallet
That's
is
a lot of bag.
is 2 yards.
Yeah.
For this discussion.
Wow.
So if you have, like, say you're running 800 gallon pots, then that would be 2 pallets of soil. And the thing is that you're only going to do it once. You're only going to have to mix it once every 8 or 9 years, because you're going to treat it just like you do farmland. You're going to use cover crops during the winter, and you're going to do real world soil amending, but Joe, the guy at the grocery store, oh yeah, you want to dump some Cal Mag on this because you have lockout if you don't. Oh, okay. Or some other malady that only exists, in the cannabis world. So
I've found the parody of one of the parody of Molson that we did here. Yeah. Oh, wait a minute. I'll try to share the link. So in French, the only part that matter in it is you like a beer halfway done, but that's what you've always drank. That's the thing they say. So yeah, even the people here think that it's pretty much low grade beer that everyone can like because it tastes light and
It doesn't
disgusting.
taste like beer. I mean,
Yeah, it's not.
you take your national brands here, the ones that have existed since the 30s and 40s. You got your Budweiser, you got your Coors. Fortunately, Olympia got put out of business. I mean, how do you last that long making beer that bad? But they're able to pull it off. They right outside of Seattle in a little town called Tumwater. But then you get Carling's Red Cap or Red Cap Ale, I think. These old brands, and the flavor was nothing. People drank to get drunk. I mean, there was no such thing as air quotes artisan or microbreweries. That was a marketing term that got developed. The two biggest cities that were originally players were Seattle and Portland. So
Is it the Czech beer, Czechoslovakia beer that is really light and a bit different, but it's more similar to that? Because when I was drinking some German beer, it have like that lightness, but it have some taste to it. The Legend Return, oh, you got a nice one.
yeah. Well,
It's Coot.
what's interesting about Germany is this from a historical perspective, and I think it was King Charles was his name.
Yeah, the
And
rule of the tree.
yeah, beer can only consist of three items:
Yep.
water, hops, and barley. That's it. Now, how you manipulate that barley, and you do that with roasting. Roasting is going to caramelize the sugars in the grain, and that then will affect the flavor. That's how you get dark beer. But it all starts with barley. And now some beers around the world include rice. They'll also include, Hefeweizen, that's a wheat beer. But it's all made with malted grains, and all malted means is that you sprouted it, you germinated it. That's all it means.
I've
And that's
drank
what I
some
use.
beer like that with rice. It's
Yeah.
really lighter taste. It still have a good taste,
Yes.
but really light color and yeah.
Right. Right. It will, if that's your goal, your flavor, there's other flavor agents that are added. For example, in just barley alone, you've got the chocolate barleys, and there's all kinds of wheats, rye. All these grains are malted or sprouted, germinated, and then you dry them. And that's what you buy at a home brew store are these malted grains because they contain the enzymes that can turn sugar into alcohol.
Wait a minute. It's a organal fertilizer.
Oh yeah,
I'm
hey,
not sure what organal
AI
means.
can't spell anything right. Trust me.
Yeah.
It's kind of a running joke, yeah. But see, that's where I figured it out many years ago about using malted grains in soil, because in the process of brewing and fermenting, like for example, Scotch is made from barley, period. All beer is made from barley. Now, there are other agents that may go into that beer, but it all starts with barley. And Germany, I don't know. Obviously, I doubt that they're still running the laws past 700 years ago or 500 years ago, whatever. Out saying that beer can only consist of barley, hops, and water. Now, so we grow a lot of barley. Excuse me. We do. We grow barley and hops. The Washington and Oregon hops are sold in Asia, Africa, Europe. They're some of the finest hops. Cascadian hops, I believe, is one of the brands, one of the big brokers here. But even in that paradigm, there's probably, last time I looked into it, was something like 33 different varieties of hops were produced for brewmasters around the world to achieve specific flavor profiles and color within the beer itself. But usually that's handled by roasting some of the grains. Gives you changes in flavor, clarity, and color. Usually a beer like that has to have 4 or 5 different malts in it. Because when you roast it to get the color, let's say you want a really dark Irish type ale, dark ale. Well, you have to roast the grain to do that. Well, when you roast it, you kill the enzymes. And that's fine, but you have to have a barley in there that isn't roasted at all, that it has the enzyme. It's the enzymes, the amylase specifically, alpha amylase and beta amylase, that do most of the work. That's what your saliva is amylase. So as soon as you eat and you start chewing, your body mixes it with this agent that begins the process of deconstructing it down so that the nutrients and the compounds can be released in the gut to be assimilated into your body.
Do it influence on the spike of sugar in your blood when it's just by amylase before?
No, it's the amylase that creates the function of converting sugars to alcohol.
Okay.
The alcohol, if there were no sugar, and in this case, it's going to be the barley itself. Again, you can have a barley, look up a beer recipe, and it's not uncommon to have 3, 4, 5 different barleys for color and flavor, and that's fine. But one of those has to be the untouched barley, like I recommend using in our soils. If you took barley that's been roasted and ground it up, it would just make a mess in your soil. It wouldn't do anything because the enzymes have been destroyed. Once you go over 120 Fahrenheit, the enzymes that facilitate brewing and what do you call it when you turn it into alcohol and not beer?
The fermentation itself?
Distilled.
Yeah.
Okay, so barley makes beer and also makes scotch. Even American whiskey, which is corn, has to have some amount of barley as part of the recipe in order to get the enzymes. And there's a lot more than there's amylase. There's protease and urease and phosphatase and all kinds of good shit that stoners should love. You know, who doesn't love phosphorus, right? If you're growing weed or whatever. But in any event, that was the basis of the science of how the malted grains would enhance the soil's tilth and therefore would enhance the yield and fruit or flowers, depending on what you're growing.
How long is the so is the amylase stable very long once you make that, or do you have to use it right away?
No, when you malt a grain, and that's what you buy at a home brew store, you're going to make some beer. You know, it's a real popular hobby, and so you're going to buy. Let's say you buy it in a full bag. Properly stored, that grain is biologically active for up to 5 years intact. Now, if you mill it into a flour, you can cut that down to about 6 months maximum. So as long as you keep the grain intact, say you want to use it in your soil and you want to take advantage of getting a full bag, get the real price. I just use the buckets at Home Depot, paint buckets with the plastic lids, and 2 buckets will take 50 pounds of grain. So I load it in that, and then about every year or year and a half, I guess, I just replace it, and it's just as good as the day I bought it. But I don't mill it until I'm ready to use it. I use the same mill I use to make flour for bread baking. So
Sense. I know I use your bamboo shoots all the time when I'm doing lacto.
oh yeah. Oh, for the mesu,
Yeah.
what they call it mesu in India and parts of India. Yeah.
So we do
350, isn't it? 350 strains of labs. I mean, that's amazing. That's
yeah,
really diversity.
we use it for inoculating the milk labs, and it works good for that too. You can just take a couple drops of it and put it in a bucket of milk, and it'll just go crazy. And then you can take that and cut it with sugar water and bulk it out and make it like a shit ton more real quick if you need to.
Is that a produce you buy by itself that you can get on the shelves?
Yeah, you can get
bamboo
little
shoot
jars
or-
of bamboo shoots, like fermented
Yeah,
bamboo shoots.
fermented bamboo shoot. Every culture in
Okay.
Asia has. In India, it's called mesu, mesu, but I don't know what it's called in Cambodia or Nepal or whatever. But there isn't a culture in Asia that doesn't eat fermented bamboo shoots. In America, your best chances of finding it would be in an India market. There you go.
And you can get them pickled bamboo shoots.
Yeah.
It's another way they put it. But yeah, it usually comes in a jar,
Uh-huh.
kind of like this. These ones are from Japan, but it comes in a jar like that. It's just like, yeah, it's fermented bamboo tips.
Yep.
You just need the liquid of that in the milk.
Yeah,
Start
I usually buy it in like a smaller, a jar like about that size from just like you can go to like any Asian food market
Yeah.
and they'll have it like
Again,
any
yeah.
food market.
Doesn't matter if it's Chinese, Vietnamese,
Yeah.
Thai, it doesn't matter. They're going to have bamboo food products.
Right.
Have you ever
on
grown
another
bamboo?
note with
I've had a lot of cannabis properties that had bamboo growing and I've dealt
Well,
with
that's
it.
what I meant. Yeah. I didn't mean you planted it, but yeah, you've been around. The
So
rate that it grows is fucking amazing. It's a grass.
yeah,
And so it's amazing how fast it grows and big.
and the duff from it like is really good for compost and for IMO collection, and because it's filled with fungi. Like it's just if you take
Yeah.
any bamboo duff and like flip it over with your hand, or just grab a handful of it, the whole bottom will all be fungi. Like it doesn't matter where it is in the world, it just gets tons of fungi in there. Like that break down leaf material, it's really good.
What it's also good for, Steve, is you cut it into the lengths that you're going to make your compost pile, and you sort of weave it and make a frame. And so it keeps the material off the ground. And so you're going to get more aeration, meaning more aerobic activity and not mud and slime, anaerobic. It gives the airflow underneath your compost pile. Another thing that you can use that works really well are the stalks from sunflower plants. You let them dry, and then they harden up, not unlike bamboo. And then you put that down as your bedding, if you, for lack of a better word, and then build your compost pile on top of that.
The other thing you can do with sunflowers, especially if you go the bigger headed varieties or the multi-headed varieties, you can take them and you can char the heads. So put them in like get like a cast iron pot like you use for cooking with a nice cast iron lid, and
Right.
put that get a good fire going, and then put your heads in there, like all of your sunflower heads inside of there, and then put the lid on it so there's like no oxygen in there, so it just turns them all to like charcoal. And then you can take that and dissolve it with water, and it's a really good way for like instant, highly bioavailable potassium. The biochar that you make from it is like hyper available in potassium from the flower heads. But yeah, that's like the method that Chris Trump uses for most of his WSK when he teaches it. But yeah, it's a good method.
From a gardening perspective, having a lot of sunflowers is really helpful because it brings in pollinators. And when you're doing tomatoes and excuse me, nightshades, I love that. Well, be careful, it's a nightshade. Fuck you. The more pollinators you can have, the better fruit set you're going to get. Strawberry, same thing, or any kind of berry. You need bees and butterflies hanging around, and that's an easy way to get them. So I like getting the short varieties, then medium varieties, and then the tall ones. And so, and you really can't. I don't know. You can't have a garden without big sunflower plants. I mean, that's kind of the part of the point, isn't it? Yeah. It's real Americana. Probably saw a lot of it in Tennessee.
It's funny because I know some that did not want that to say that they were planting that mammoth variety, whatever, that Russian variety of sunflower that it's just the giant one, and they were like always saying, "Oh, look at mine, they are bigger and taller than yours. That's
Right,
because I
right.
know how to do my garden right and stuff like that." And at one point, I've shown them some seeds that I had harder from Mexico. They were multi-head variety, one different color, and I showed that to them. I was like, well, that's the original sunflower, and they will never be as big and all that, but I got more flower than you, and they're more pretty, and everyone want my seeds. I've kind of won the argument with them.
Yeah.
You got the bigger one? Yeah, I got the most pretty
Are
one.
you sure these aren't cannabis growers?
They were growing cannabis behind it, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's the
Is
tallest,
it,
right? You have
when
to.
when you started investigating sunflower plants, the color varieties, you got reds and browns and golds and amber. I mean, all kinds of colors.
Well, that
It's
Antheraceae, or Antheraceae, that family, there's a shit ton of super cool native sunflowers as well, like not even the cultivated ones, like especially in the
right.
Southwest, like there's a lot of really cool ones that are native,
Yeah.
like Texas and New Mexico.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'll bet.
but then he
Yeah.
doesn't pay, but whatever. That guy, that Chicago guy, he was explaining at one point all the different plants in that region that were in the same family than sunflower, and yeah, I never knew that. I was, oh, I've seen those plants, whatever documentary or show things
You
like
need
that.
to
I did
watch
not
more
know it
crime
was that.
pays. Watch more crime pays, but botany doesn't, and you'll learn all the different family types and groups and
Yeah.
different. I've learned so much on like taxonomy on plants watching his shit.
Yeah. I knew some stuff that, but when I started to listen deeply at his things, yeah, no, I knew that I knew absolutely nothing in it. In fact, I knew some part of some family, and you discover that there's a whole world of that type of plant that you never knew that were parent, and the morphology are different because of different environment, whatever. Yeah, I just like it.
Yeah.
I was just catch on that vibe of looking like 5-10 show in a row that he did, like each
Here's
region. You know.
here's one for Coot.
Yeah.
Captain
Oh,
Calamine,
my
which
buddy. Hey, my buddy. Dumb Dick International. Yeah.
That was great. I also thought it directly ripping off Superman and both of their capes was great too.
Well, I think I saw the lowest price I've seen in a window in a dispensary to attract people, to come in. 31.50 for an ounce.
I had
Talk
a
about
guy,
a race to the bottom.
I had a guy at the
Okay.
gas station offer me an eighth for $1.50 today.
$1.50.
In Humboldt. Yeah,
Yeah.
$1.50. He's like,
It has no value. I
$1.50.
mean, and here's the thing. I'm pretty sure California is the same, but at least Oregon and Washington, and then I'm probably a lot of California too. Over 90% of sales are pre-rolls and cartridges. I mean, let's be honest here. How good does it have to be? Okay.
It doesn't have to be good. That's the thing with the
Right. Exactly.
with a if you're a one-time buyer, they can't be they have no they can't be
No.
they can't expect
And
return.
they've never been high. I mean, if all you've ever smoked is some shit out of it, here, check my pin, fuck. It's like taking a shower with a raincoat.
Yeah, I've listened some people talking about will they will they buy some type of BHO or will they buy some rosin? And I was looking at
No.
their choice, and I honestly understand why they went for the BHO. Because for the quality wise and taste and enjoyability of their produce, for the cheapest thing of strong produce, let's say, they were having a deal on that part. I was like, yeah, I just don't prefer that thing. But I was looking, why you need some rosin? Why don't you go some good flour that may be on discount? And it wasn't part of their choice. There's a lot of smoker
No.
now that I think would maybe not smoke flour. That's what made me realize it. I was not in the same mentality of than them.
No.
I wasn't there. Because for me, it's like there's a lot of cheap flour you could get before you start to go on that type of produce. To get the cheaper one, I don't know.
Yeah, it's price driven garbage. Uh,
But it's also taxed by THC level, which is for me a kind of stupidity. Because if we go with wine, we doesn't tax more wine because it's 16% alcohol or 12, 16% alcohol. We we're gonna tax it. Let's say if it's a better wine, it's more expensive. They may have a higher
well, we know.
tax rate
I
on
don't
it,
know.
right?
Okay, let me explain. In the United States, every state basically sets up their own rules.
Yeah.
Okay, for example, we don't have a sales tax in Oregon. So if you go buy a new $100,000 pick 'em up truck, right? You don't pay a single fucking dime in sales tax. But when it comes to cannabis, it's like
52, right?
30%.
Oh, you're
So
not
you
bad. It's
go,
52 here.
okay, well, I mean, for Oregonians, like that was a shock because you don't pay tax on anything. It was sales tax. I mean, don't worry, they're getting fucked. I mean, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying as far as when you buy the car, because when you buy something like a car, hey, the bank might be giving you an 8-year loan, but the state isn't on. The taxes are due right now. There's none of this. Well, I'm going to make payments, and it doesn't work that way.
No,
See?
you pay all in the shot. Yeah.
Yeah, you got to pay it all. So when you go into the dispensary, and I guess I've never actually been in one.
Gotta get
Eh,
we gotta get the politicians to fix that.
yeah, when they pluck $100 down on the counter, then they got to pony up another $30 for the state of Oregon. I mean, it's just insane. Oh fuck. I mean,
I just wish that there was more emphasis on a produce is quality, not just because it's strong.
no, the quality.
Yeah,
That ship
I know
sailed
we've
8
talked
years
about it, you
ago.
and me, but
No. That ship sailed 8 years ago when it went legal here.
yeah.
The first year it went legal here, when the crops were planted, the business model, because you don't ever know. Okay. The business model was is that you would get 24 a pound, 2,400, so $1.50 an ounce. Okay. And the fact that it's legal and and everything, that's was better than getting 32, but having to run it to Chicago to get that kind of money. See what I mean? Or New York, or probably more in New York. But that year, the price dropped below $500 a pound, 80%, an 80% drop in projected revenues. Do you know how many licenses got returned after the first season? Like, fuck this, man. And then the inmates took over the institution. So then it just became this, hey, bring us your shitty weed. We can remediate it. We can fix it. We'll spray it with some terpenes and terpenoids, and we can make it taste like whatever is the blowing everybody's button this week. No, it's John's cut of the gnarly shithead strain or something. So,
I was
kind of like being
wondering,
in a resale market of sneakers. The days are long gone of $1,000 sneakers. So.
what would have been the cannabis strain today without the parking lot of H Grateful Dead concert? Is there any other place where there was good weed during that period? Because I feel that as a Canadian, as someone put aside as like I've never been in a Grateful Dead concert. I think they cannot even pass the border anymore. So I don't know
Oh,
how
right.
I've been able to get some good weed.
Have a
Well,
lot
one
to
thing
declare.
that people in my generation did was just talk a lot of shit, okay, about weed, because the vast majority of it, I mean, it was just okay.
Yeah.
Was there good weed? Yeah, good weed came in, but hey, usually it was like, oh, we're still doing this, huh? That kind of shit. Unless you were at a level where, like, instead of a ton coming in, maybe only 50 pounds, and you might be lucky to get a quarter pound of it. So that was the term dealer's choice. Okay, it wasn't stuff you bought it to sell it and distribute it. What we used to call the little people, Colombian, buy it in bulk, man. Get 2 tons on a 6-week front. Sell the shit for $350, $400 a pound. Yeah. Hey, people are getting all
50
coked
cents
up. It didn't
joint.
have to be good. It
I
didn't
used
have
to
to be
buy
good.
I used to buy $87 ounces way back in the day. That was just like
Yeah.
mids. And then we'd turn
Yeah.
all that into edibles. Cause like for
Yeah.
edibles, it was, well, I
Exactly.
can afford a couple ounces and just add more, cannabis, and it'll come out all right.
Hey, I have smoked really good weed, but I will tell you that I smoked a lot of shit. Okay, because that's all there was available. That's just the way, good times and bad times. It is what it is.
But
That's
there's
why
something,
being able to grow your own. I mean, I can't
yeah.
believe people are whining, or at least where I live. I mean, you're allowed 4 plants. Give me a fucking break. They don't say how big the plants can be. Okay, it doesn't mean you have to do 4 plants in a closet. Put them in some fucking containers outside, let the sun take care of it, and harvest a couple of 3 pounds at least off a
Well,
plant.
in Canada, we have a weight limit unless you have your medical card. But there's absolutely,
Oh,
yeah,
well,
anyway.
hey, no, that's a really good point, because here's how stupid the law here is. You're allowed 4 plants. Again, no stipulation on size or anything like that. Whatever, 4 plants. but you're only allowed to have 24 ounces of finished, dried, cured, whatever.
And Evil Deadly, that's only your shitty province.
And,
Here
no,
I'm sorry.
here it's
everywhere else you can have as much as you want.
yeah, at home.
Oh,
At home,
I
it's different. But yeah, here it's a quarter pound that unless you have your medical card, you cannot get more than a quarter pound at home. And I was laughing when they said that you cannot grow your own plant at home in my province because it's like forget
mm,
all the 50 years story of no, maybe more 40 years at least. In the 80s it started to boom here, but it's in the 90s and early 2000 there was so much of it that people in USA know about how much there was over here, not only in BC. And there was some magazine over here, and there was some magazine in Vancouver, and so there was
oh,
something here.
see,
But
we got a lot of the
give
Vancouver
repress.
weed.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Okay,
you got your
a
weed,
lot of
yeah.
it came down through Seattle and into Portland, and let me just say that this wasn't the finest that was being grown in Vancouver. I mean,
Not all of it for
90,
sure. Yeah.
it was C and two numbers.
Oh, the M39 is
And that
from
was
Quebec.
M39. Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
that one. I bought that from
Well, it's not from
SSSC.
Quebec, but it was like
I
the staple of
Yeah,
here,
right.
like the
And
commercial one.
it became the standard in Vancouver.
Yeah.
And I swear to God, if somebody said, "Yeah, I got some ounces," and I'd look at them and I could just open it up and go, "This is M39, isn't it?" Yeah. No, I don't want any. It got a really bad reputation really quick.
But the Asian gang started to grow some kind
Yeah,
of
okay. I didn't want to
bush
say that,
also.
but yeah, it was
Yeah.
Vietnamese gang stuff. And then
Vietnamese, a lot of them.
they started growing it down in Southern California.
Yeah.
Their cousins and relatives. So they were like, you go into a neighborhood and there'd be like 10 homes that were run houses full of weed.
I'm
You
pretty
know,
sure they were all connected from USA to one side of
yeah,
Canada to the other. Because
yeah,
when I was
yeah,
looking at the bust, you can really tell if it was people from here or those people. Because I've
yeah,
never seen as many plant by room and as many light than what they were
yes,
doing. And it was like,
yeah.
holy crap, that's like worse than a factory. That's like overload factory. Like,
And they learned pretty quickly
oh yeah. But they
that you
do that
wanted to
on
go
the
into
dangerous
better
way.
neighborhoods. You wanted to go into better neighborhoods because the fact of the
Yeah.
matter is, in America, rich people don't get fucked with. Okay. You don't run squad cars into areas that have $2 and $3 million homes and harass the occupants because they might be, doing something that isn't quite legal. Now, if you're a person of color and living in a place and barely scraping by, fuck yeah, they'll come in and fuck with you all day long. So your chances of getting busted. There was just a story in the LA Times about some of the biggest black market busts have been in some of the most expensive neighborhoods in all of Southern California, and that's saying a lot. I mean, hell, the house I grew up in, which was nothing. I mean, fucking nothing. Is $750,000. It's nuts.
What's funny is that they were not necessarily all growing crappy strain, but the way they were handling everything,
Oh
anything can
yeah,
be crap after.
that's
You
right.
know what I mean?
If,
Like
yeah,
whatever they were taking, you're
yeah,
not
post
sure what it
harvest
ended.
handling has a lot to do
Yeah,
with
that's what I mean.
yeah.
Like Anyway, I've seen some video of like how the people were installing different type of busts like that, and the late one in Maine, there was a lot of those gang that have been busted a couple of months ago. I think this spring, but yeah, the people in the condition they live in, it's sad for them that they put themselves into that type of condition and end up in immigration jail or stuff like that, because they will sit there for a really long time and they were not living super good before, and their ramen and craft dinner were not the best thing. Like it's gonna be
If
worse in prison, dude. Yeah.
the criminal justice system is the way it's run in the United States anyway, is a really good revenue stream. It keeps law enforcement, attorneys. I mean, any schmuck can get a law degree. That's a big myth that it's not like you're becoming an oncologist or somebody really skilled. To be an attorney, you just got to be able to talk shit. Especially now with the resources that are available electronically. You can do legal research in a matter of a couple hours, maybe. Look at 100 cases. I don't want to get into all the details, but think about how much money is spent with jailing and fines and probation officers. I mean, it's a big industry. It's just revenue stream.
There's something about that I've just find it tiny bit strange is if we want to have like a legitimate system, why we profit of those that we want to punish?
Well, it's selective enforcement. Like I
But
said, rich people don't have to worry about the cops busting through their doors and grab the bong out of your hand and charge you with possession. That's something that's not part of their life, their reality. But man, if you're black and in the wrong neighborhood, and for whatever reason you piss off a cop, you got big fucking problems. The power of the state. Then you're in front of a judge and you're getting some insane sentence for resisting arrest or a bunch of made up charges. That's what's great. One thing about here is when we had an attorney general by the name of John Ashcroft, a real piece of shit. He couldn't get a conviction in Oregon, jury nullification. They tried prosecuting a Vietnam vet who was wheelchair bound because he had 26 ounces instead of 24 on federal charges. He was going to make an example of him. That kind of shit.
so I was just wondering at one point, is there some people that close their eyes about legalization in USA? Because I don't understand exactly why people think it's gonna be freedom or that much good of a news when in fact they cannot get together and lobby for what they really legitimately want, and they cannot agree on a real good plan about it, and the
because
only thing
most
that will matter is those that can lobby for controlling their market,
because
the
most
share of
people
market.
because most people aren't cannabis industry people that understand how the system works. They're just dumb people that think that, oh, it needs to be legalized to like get people out of jail and to like not be racist and to do whatever. And they don't hold out for those better bills. That's why you had success in like Oklahoma. They didn't think that bill had a snowball's chance in hell of passing, and it passed, and it was written like almost exactly what the growers wanted. um and they reined that in the last year or so, but it took them quite a few years to really do anything to get that regulatory structure going. Now you
Also,
have a
the people
fucking
writing these laws are smart enough I can't speak about Oklahoma. I can only speak about Oregon and what went on in Washington. The people who were going to benefit from these laws were the ones who hired the political action committees, the attorneys to write the laws that benefited them. Okay, and here's how it works. You have a producer, so that's your grower. That's a license. Then there's the broker. The producer can't sell directly to the retailer, the dispensary. It has to go through a broker. There's a layer of revenue, right? And then the broker is going to resell it to the dispensary, who is going to, whatever they break it up into this, that, and the other. And they're brokers that deal in bulk yields, lows, harvest, whatever, for production, for making medibles and cartridges and all that kind of shit. Flowers is a nothing. I mean, it may be like 8% of total sales. That the whole thing about really good buds and yeah, that's over. That's fucking. If you want good weed, you better grow it yourself. You're not going to walk in a dispensary and get. If you do, it's going to cost some silly ass amount. My stuff in some of the dispensaries is going for $500 an ounce. I don't see a penny of it.
Uh, I really think that if nobody really lobby for a strict plan, really a good, I don't know. Like Oklahoma, you say it seemed to have worked. It may change now, the way it go, but like here, that's what have happened is that some people were just waiting to see it happen, what they're gonna do or whatever, but there was already
It's a gold rush.
talk with the government on how it gonna be done, and there were already that like happening, and I knew about it, but it was like I don't know, I got no weight in it. I don't have any money to invest in that kind of thing, but I would have wished at least that there would be a bit more preservation and research and something about that. No, it's really about share of market, how much we can tax, how much we can control, and like erasing what it was to have all the big pocket that can put some money in another industry that have a, better than let it sit in the bank, whatever.
There's an expression in American politics that money is the milk blood of politics.
Yeah, it is.
And these tax revenues, you're saying it's 52% where you live. But even at 30% it's fucking crazy.
Just
I mean, a
that
typical, yeah.
that pack of 50 gram of tobacco, it's $32, and it's a cheap one. So
Wow.
I'm telling you, 20 years ago, that thing was less than $50, $12 maybe. And when they
I
say
remember.
inflation, I'm not sure it's only inflation, because when I look at the taxation of tobacco and alcohol, it's pretty much 52%. So that thing, in fact, should cost $15 again. It never really went that much up. It's because at one point there was so many illegal tobacco that was back in Montreal, let's say by Imperial Tobacco, fill in some whatever, some van and all that to go across the border and come back miraculously and sometime in the same van here being sold under the table. And there was a load of good cigarette like that. Now, if you want,
Mhm.
let's say the Indian version of the cheap tobacco, the discount and stuff like that, you got a lot of crappy tobacco in it. There are some better than other, but a lot of really crappy. When I started to look into that, I started to doubt that tobacco was really grown in America, all of
Did
it,
you
because
freeze? Did I freeze?
yeah, well, no, it's worse than that. Like the discount one is the like the
Hmm.
duty fruit, whatever. But
Hey,
there's worse than that. And when I started to look at the market of illegal tobacco in France and UK, there's a lot of Chinese knockoff and that kind of thing. And the factory and how it been like that type of tobacco, they don't know what's the tobacco in it. It's just whatever. And then they can make it taste a bit like a Marlboro, and you're gonna cough your ass after half a cigarette, and they can do whatever and print it with whatever. And when my friend was in Morocco, because he's from there, and he had some friend that wanted to come in Canada to study for informatic and whatever PC stuff, being programmer and things like that. And they've been able to, but how they've been able to raise their money was to pass the border. I think it's between Algeria and Morocco, and they were passing the border for some tobacco like that. And they were saying a lot of those pack of cigarette that was supposed to be whatever the brand name it, they were just had to ask, can you put that label on it and make it look like a Marlboro or whatever? They had all the print for every type of cigarette that you want. If you want a Camel, you can print it. So I started to really wonder, like, why my throat hurt that much? It's maybe because of that, and I want to get some tobacco at the corner store, and it was, yeah, I don't know why it feel better. So whatever it is about tobacco now, if I cannot get real good natural tobacco, I'll get the one at the shop, nothing else, because there's something strange. I don't know if it's because there's something bad or their tobacco, if it's the pesticide, if it's just the condition or whatever it been packed. It was, well, we care so much about how the weed is maybe contaminated or whatever. Look at the cigarette industry, and it make me think that we've started to say, oh, cigarettes is really bad. Well, they've made it worse by taxing it so much that the illegal market flourish, and the most crappy tobacco still gets sold because of it. Well, I don't know. Taxation, it's a double-edged sword, because in the 90s they had to lower the tax when they wanted to have less people buying illegal tobacco, which was exactly the same brand, the same pack of cigarette. I've saved some pack of that time, and it was packed in Montreal. Like you cannot sell it in Canada. Like, yeah, cool. We pack it here for you. Okay, I get it, but it come back here to be sold. That was the most funny thing ever. But yeah, I think cannabis was a bit on it for a time. I was wondering why there's still people having crappy weed from Canada in USA and from Mexico, and there's still weed from Mexico get shipped in USA. And I'm like, and there's that lower price in some place for okay weed, but must be really better than having Mexican brick, right? I mean, if I have the choice between Mexican brick or the $1.50 an eight at the gas station, I'm not sure if I really want to continue smoking.
Show me that dollar
ma-
58.
many years ago, I drove from Portland up to Vancouver and then on Yukon Territory and then into Canada. A semi load of mining equipment. So you know how big BC is. It's pretty good size from top to bottom to get through it.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And so that's where we ate for a couple of days and got our cigarettes and what have you. I remember saying to my partner, well, now I know what BC stands for. It means bring cash. I couldn't believe the goddamn prices, man, on tobacco. and you're out in the middle, and I mean, you can imagine like Whitehorse.
Yeah,
Is that the name
you
of it?
start to
Yeah. What?
you start to be pretty up north.
Fucking hey, man. You stop for a pack of cigarettes, and it's like $5-6 tax on a pack of cigarettes. So it was like $11. When in the United States, then it was at that time it was like $4. So it was almost 3 times as much. And I thought they're going to make sure they got their money. If you're going to smoke and they got to take care of your ass, they're going to make sure that you paid into this a treatment program that you're going to be going through when you start dying. I mean,
Yeah,
that's pretty smart. I mean, why should I mean sin taxes in my frame of reference are the fairest. Because if you want to smoke, and I mean, come on, we've known for doctors were advising over 150 years ago that smoking wasn't good for you, right? I mean, it wasn't like a news flash. If you smoke today, then you're taking a risk. I'm not being judgmental. Hey, I think as long as it doesn't involve children, have at it. So I'm a small L libertarian, but don't come whining because they used over 100 chemicals to make that Marlboro taste consistently the same. That's what for example, saltpeter is added as a burning agent to make the tobacco burn more consistently.
it's funny because you
That's
can
just
put saltpeter for your soil and have a good source of
exactly.
nutriment.
I mean, but it's a chemical.
Saltpeter is also used to make dudes. That was used in World War I to make soldiers less horny.
Yeah, there was a rumor about that during Vietnam.
It doesn't work when I smoke it.
I don't know
No.
I'm still trying to figure out how a terpene, or is it a terpenoid? I don't even care. Anthocyanin, it somehow purple indicates quality. Well, like I said 100,000 times, the same goddamn compounds that makes blueberries blue. So shouldn't you be able to smoke blueberry skins? Get high?
So it's a flavonoid actually.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
I will
I'm
just
pretty
make a
sure.
tea with it. Yeah.
No, I'll show you.
But there's
Which one's
something.
a terpenoid? And terpenoids are separated. One has no oxygen ions. The other one is this carbon and hydrogen. The other one is carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. And
For
many
the
writers
terpenoid, got the
get them.
oxygen on top.
I think so. I think you're right. I think terpenoid is with oxygen.
Okay.
Many writers constantly mix them up. So you have to.
Anthocyanins are a class of water-soluble flavonoids, widely represented in fruit and vegetables.
Okay,
But
flavonoids. All right.
there's something about that to be said. Is in the same patch, same clone, all the over in the patch. You had some plant that I've seen were turning a bit more reddish and other more purple and other were having just shade of purple and red. Those that were all purple were having a different smell to it. Those that were red were
I'm
not
not
having
arguing
exactly
that.
that same smell.
I'm not.
I've never
I'm
understood
not.
that.
That's easy. That part. But what I'm saying is that having that flavonoid in and of itself is not an indicator of quality. That's all. Because
No,
you're
no, it's
being
not.
manipulated by cold weather. Right there, that's a physical response. That's a defense mechanism.
Yep. Well, I found it
But
strange when you got the same clone reacting differently in the same garden, the same patch of garden. So, uh, yeah, I just don't know exactly
wait
if
a
there
minute.
was
Think
like a
about it.
tiny different microclimate or the soil was a bit different over there. I don't know.
Well, that's part of it. You're talking about artificial soils.
Mhm.
Very few people are actually bothering with a real actual soil. The dirt, basically dirt, and they're going to supplement it with some kind of a new program.
Yeah.
Well, of course, it's going to be inconsistent, and of course, the plant's going to be expressing all kinds of odd expressions. Just the lighting. Remember, this industry grew up with on HIDs. Could you come up with a worse way to light for horticulture? You couldn't conceive of a worse light. Look how fast they were replaced by LEDs. Once the LEDs got to a point, I mean, you can't even give it away. And Steve can vouch for this. In Northern California and Southern Oregon, here's how bad it is because a lot of those farms that were commercially licensed and legal and all that stuff, they received huge amounts of the power companies would supplement their lighting because it was cheaper for them if they would use LEDs because that's cheaper than building dams. Well, when the thing fell apart, do you know what you can buy a used light for in Northern California and Southern Oregon? The big ones, LEDs.
They'll pay you to take it.
Exactly. $100, $100, 75. Or like Steve said, you'll take all 10 of them. I mean, it's funnier than shit to me.
I wish I
day
could
that I
get
went
something like that here because I will change the lightning in my place like totally.
exactly.
And
I have
not even
a
for growing anything, just for working under, because those light, if you dime them down, they are perfect for your growth, your working space, whatever. I just they are safe, with all the fluorescent light. You have those bulbs that you need to have a kind of protectant on the
right.
front of it, and I've always find it really annoying because there's always one of those small hole on the side, and there is fly coming into it. So I need to climb there every once in a while and remove all those cover, and always break those cover. And
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that's the most annoying stuff. But when you get those LED, I can have them bare like that, and there's no safety issue with it. They won't have anything to break on top of us. So,
Before it was legal here, there was what you would call, or most people would call, a grow store. There were at least 35 in the Portland metro area. Because this is where it started. This is where the grow store started, was Portland and Seattle. And then it spread around the country and up into Canada.
yeah.
So there's been a history. This is where George Cervantes had his first store back in the early 80s, over 40 years ago. That's how old this was. And the year that it went legal, by the end of that year, we were down to 10, and now we're down to about 5. That's it. Legalization killed that industry. There's absolutely zero reason for anybody to go in or to seek out a grocery store. Order it online. Amazon, Home Depot, for Christ's sake. I can buy tents. I can buy AC Infinity fans. I mean, why would I dick around with some kid on a commission trying to jerk me off about what I need or don't need?
Yeah, I went at the Amador with one of my friend that wanted to start his garden indoor before he put it
Uh-huh.
out, nothing weed in it, but we went together there, and he was like, how how those things you can get it there? I was like, man, we're gonna do a one-stop shop and get everything that you need basic there. He was like, oh, but that's really cool. We just have to go there. I'm like, no, it's kind of weird that we we can't find it all in that place now. But anyway, we found everything we needed. And what's the funny thing is that he wanted to really follow organic feeding, and he was able to find it there. a couple, like, I don't know, maybe a decade ago, it was mostly like 20 and those type of colorful fertilizer and some
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that they were
Knock 'em
selling with
dead. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. But now you can
Yeah.
get all the organic stuff over there, so that was the
Yeah.
funniest part about it. But anyway, he found some lightning for his workshop, and he found out that the same light was fitting for his plant, and I was like, that light. If you go look for grow light on Amazon and stuff like that, you're gonna maybe have better model available, but mostly more expensive. And you can go with that one, that one, and that one. And I've searched with one of my friends before to know which one were really working. And he told me that where he worked, they've changed all the light for exactly that one that some company order with a sticker on it and a different box to sell for the potted and sell it like $100 or $50 more each.
Yeah.
And my friend was
I
like, "You're
take.
you're crazy, man! It's the same exact stuff in
Yeah.
in it." I'm like, "Yeah, that's exactly what they sell to the industry. It's not what they sell to the potted."
One of the other, I'll call it a hobby, and I'm not trying to be detrimental, but for lack of a better word, people that are into saltwater aquariums, no lighting. And so if you want lighting, if you go to marine, it used to be marinedepot.com, but I'm sure there's others, doesn't matter. And look for lighting for reef tanks and what have you. You can get some really nice goddamn lighting and not pay that silly weed tax. Oh, if you're growing weed, you got to spend this much. Uh, all kinds just there's all kinds of neat shit in aquarium stores, the high end ones. I don't mean like
So
pets.
that's how I got started doing weed. A lot of back in the day, people used to buy their grow lights and all that stuff at
Mm-hmm.
pet shops on the East Coast because it
Yes.
was like a safe place because the police were watching the hydro store, but they
Yeah.
weren't looking at the pet store.
Right. Right.
And you can get, and a lot of the pet store workers, like I used to get paid 5% commission on anything
Mm-hmm.
over $5,000 sold for the month, right? But if I sell like one grow room setup, like I'm getting commission that month. You know what I mean? So after a while, you get to figure out like who's doing what, and you start figuring, being able to quickly screen people and be like, so you you have a 20 by 12 foot coral production room, do you? So you're gonna need
Yeah. Right.
8,000
Right.
watt 8,000 watt lights to get your coral growing real good. And
Yeah.
here's your stuff for your CalMag reactor. And
Well, because of all the going back to the 1880s, we've had a horticulture industry here in Oregon. We've grown plants for 150 years. The stuff when you go to a nursery there, not where you live now, but as they say back in Tennessee, or
yeah,
you go to a Home Depot at springtime, the plants often would come from Oregon and Washington, the West Coast. So there was always materials here, like smart pots were around before they were called smart pots, when they were from a company called Tree Hugger and things like that. So and everybody knew who the shysters were, man. If you wanted to get fucked, you went to a grocery store. But if you had any brains at all, you knew where to go buy commercial pots and get them for, like those plastic ones. Everyone's used the black ones. You've used them uh, ever since you started growing. I mean, can you imagine you pay 15 cents a piece for those, but you got to buy 100 at a time, from a supplier. They're not in there selling you 5 or 6 at that price. So it was easy to set up here because you had the materials right at your fingertips. Now, where you got fucked is when you went to buy the soil. I mean, we went through the whole deal here. First, it was black gold. That was the big one back in the 80s. And then got the most horrible straw I've ever fucking used in my life. That one out of Arcata, Fox Farm Ocean Forest, and Happy Frog and Light Warrior. That was just a fucking joke. That's owned
Light
by a
Warrior
company that.
was mostly perlite included
That's
and
all it was.
things. Yeah.
Yeah, it was. See, perlite. I'm not joking. There is an organization called the Perlite Institute. I swear to God, you can find it online. The perliteinstitute.org. And they will have listed all the locations around the United States, maybe even Canada, I don't know, that manufacture perlite products. So you're thinking, well, it's all going in soil? No. The biggest use of that stuff is in concrete as an agent, like for tilt-up buildings, like your Costco, those concrete walls and those what they call tilt-ups. Those, when they mix up the concrete, they add those bigger forms of perlite in there for a number of reasons. But what's funny is that Fox Farm saw those, bagged them, put a stupid name on it, Light Warrior, and we're charging people at the fucking yin yang. If you could go to a perlite distributor, a real one, that using it for insulation and that kind of stuff, you could
Yeah,
buy
it's
that stuff for 4 cubic feet was maybe $8. And the guys at the grocery store were getting like $25 because it had Light Warrior on it. It was from those clowns in Arcata. You can't write comedy this good. Yeah,
yeah,
check it out,
the
man.
perlite
The Perlite
that I buy,
Institute.
it's like $20-$30 a big huge bag. I think it's pretty much 3-4
It
feet.
is. It's fucking
Yeah,
perlite.
yeah.
Yeah, perlite is, think of a rock, and that this is not exactly how it's made. Think of popcorn. When you take a
Yeah.
corn and you heat it up, what happens? It explodes. And so it's a lot bigger than it was. Well, that's what they do with small gravel.
Oh, I
It's heated
remember
up and they
talking
pop it
about
like popcorn.
I remember talking with you about the fact that I was wondering, is rock wool is more damageable as aeration, let's say in your soil, if you get the small pellets of rock wool or perlite, how it degrade? And to me, it's like both is rock, inert rock. Why the hell one will be worse than another if both of them
They're
will heat
not.
them at that point?
Well, I don't know. It's not quite as hot on the perlite, but on the rock wool, that's made from basalt rock, lava. That's what basalt is lava rock from a volcano. And that's heated up to about 3,300 Fahrenheit. So, have you ever seen cotton candy being made?
Yeah.
Okay, that's made with sugar. And so it's heated up and you know how it comes off in strings. And then the person takes a piece of paper tube and collects it and then hands it to you, right? Okay, so what happens with the basalt when you heat it up to 3,300 Fahrenheit, it comes off in strings just like that. And so those are gathered. Originally, those were, and they still are, rock wool is used as an insulation agent, especially on modular homes, factory built where they build a house, fabricate in a factory, and then ship it in parts.
Yeah,
And then it
when they
was
install your window,
discovered.
it's the same. They use rock wool to fill around. Yeah.
Yeah. And so then it was discovered that it had the perfect balance of water to air. I think it's 80-20 or 70-30. I don't remember which it is. In any event, you could grow plants in it because it was heated up that high, you didn't have any problems with pathogens because it was sterilized. Nothing could survive at 3,300 Fahrenheit. And so it had already been an established function of commercial growers of plants, nothing to do with cannabis. And when the stoners found it, they thought they'd found nirvana. And so that's when the whole hydroponic thing with the ebb and flow and fill and drain, whatever term you want to use. Non-recovery, recovery systems. I mean, Steve knows more about these than I do. But the Rockwell was the center of it because this thing could support and would develop, let root develop. And then you had very little rotting problems because you had this completely inert substrate. I still use them. I use them for cuts. I don't fuck around. I dip and grow, which is there's the three main rooting agents that are used commercially are IAA, endoacetic acid, IBA, endobutyric 3 acetic acid, and this really horse shit from Monsanto called
There you go, Wes.
Yeah.
That's a nice one.
But
So
anyway,
which one you gonna put on top of the episode? I think the second one you've shown was pretty nice with Scott.
I have the the Return of Captain Calmag is the one.
Yeah, the
that's on.
first one. Yeah, this is really nice
man.
one. Yeah.
I've always, that one just always cracks me up. Let's say that there was such a thing as CalMag lockout. Okay, so whatever. Please, somebody fucking explain to me how applying magnesium sulfate it could fucking have anything to do with a calcium magnesium lockout. Just, I mean, I'm willing to listen, but I've never gotten a straight answer. Well, it worked. I mean, I saw it with my own eyes. Okay, well, that's really good. Nothing better than anecdotal bullshit. Okay.
Coot, the most funny thing about that is the first time I've bought a bottle of it was just because that was the only produce that had enough iron and nitrogen in it because of the currents I was experimenting on my things. And because I was reusing my soil mix really often, and I did not had enough natural input to re-put in it, whatever that wasn't available at that time of the year. So I went at the grow shop, and I knew the guy there, and he knew that I was really mostly going into organic input as much possible. Sometimes using a tiny bit of fertilization here and there to get maybe a better yield on snow white, but it was mostly oriented into a natural input, where I was able to get that work, and it doesn't cost as much and it lasts longer, whatever the good quality we find on it. But it was funny because that was the only one available, and when I started to research on it, I found that we don't have a lot of produce with available iron. That's what made me discover that. It just like the stuff I was adding in my soil wasn't providing enough available iron, and when my nitrogen was going low, that what was happening. So it was just I did not know what was in my soil, and I did not know how to really get the right thing in it. But I wonder what have a good natural source of iron available for your plant now, if I have to repeat the experience.
Well, iron sulfate or any chelated iron. You have different chelates for different pHs.
Iron sulfate. Yeah. That must be pretty cheap in the pharmacy store for iron sulfate. I know we got iron phosphate. Oh, it's like the reddish one. Is it? Yeah. Or I think it's iron phosphate that was all reddish.
Yeah, I haven't used iron phosphate. We always use DTPA iron mostly with what I use, but you can use iron sulfate. If you want to be organic, there's iron citrate or iron fulvate.
You mean if I just stuck a nail in my soil, that wouldn't work?
No,
I'm
because you
joking.
have
I mean,
your.
I'm joking. I'm doing.
So for those of you that don't know, iron has to be in the Fe2 form, not in the Fe3 form. Fe3 form is oxidized. So if it looks like
Yeah.
rust, it's not plant available.
Right.
Yeah, but that's because you need to plant the nail into your plant to have a higher THC level.
Yeah.
Yeah, you want to put the nail into the base of the plant, like right into the stem.
Actually,
Oh
that's
well,
called. That's what's that tribe in Africa that does that? They use nails, and then it causes the chlorophyll to drain out of the plant, and they
yeah.
achieve a gold color.
And yeah, on this one, hold on, I will ask GPT.
It starts with an M. It's I saw it one time, like God, almost 50 years ago. The gentleman had been in Africa and traveled extensively.
But the
He
fun part
brought,
is when I was a teenager, a lot of the guys that were showing their plant were topping it 20 times and planting some, the stuff you hold your paper on your paper board, whatever, and those small, whatever, those small kind of nail with the plastic pin. They were planting a couple of them in it, bending the plant, and they were like torturing the plant. And at one point, I show one of those guy my book about bonsai. It was like, maybe you should try to look into bonsai if you really like that kind of torture on your
yeah,
plant.
yeah.
It's the Kuba people of the DRC, and they do it with let me see, raffia palms. It says the Kuba traditionally use nails and sharp objects to pierce the plant material, which raffia palm, usually raffia palm leaves, which drains the chlorophyll, eventually turning the leaves to a golden hue. The golden leaves are
Okay,
then used for the creation of woven
okay,
textiles, masks, and ceremonial objects.
okay. I knew it's Africa, right?
Yeah, it's the Kuba people of the Democratic Republic of Congo.
Oh, the Congo. Okay, all right.
I think that
Yeah, it's distant from there.
that used to be Zaire back in the day.
Right, right, right.
Well, at least when I was a kid and had to memorize my map, that was Zaire. That's where
I there was another term I remember, girding, girding. Was that?
girding is when you wring the tree of the bark and then kill it that way.
Okay, okay,
Like the
I thought that
okay,
was
caoutchouc
okay.
barbering.
tree.
Yeah, that was another method. I remember hearing about a tribal deal with girding to achieve the golden color. Of course, if you were in Colombia, you just use bleach. How you like that? Good shit, man. Yeah,
All right.
stack some horse shit on it, you get that good smell too. Fuck. That's what fucked up weed was Colombian. Oh, God Almighty.
That's one
Mexico
of the
had wonderful, wonderful, wonderful weed. And then these by the time that the Colombian thing, I mean, can you imagine a street price with all the dickheads hands that went through it, and we used to call it fingerprinting. So if you bought it for 100, you sold it for a buck and that kind of shit, right? A pound for $450, or less than $30 an ounce. I mean, what do you think you were going to get? Jesus Christ! Sensimilla was 3,200, which is equivalent to about $12,000 today. So yeah, a pound of Sensimilla in '78 was $3,200, but a pound of Colombian was $450. 200 bucks an ounce.
200
sticks.
bucks.
And they weren't seedless either. The
But
term
the legend
sesame,
is that there wasn't a lot of seeds in some of those load. So I just wonder if there was some that were kind of similar, and you find the seeds, you may had an
no.
arm, no?
Sensimilla, the term wasn't even coined until 1977. Okay. And part of the reason it became so popular is that dealing Colombian was a fucking mess. If you, let's say you had 1,000 pounds fronted to you, I promise you that 200 pounds of it was seeds. That was just the reality.
At least, yeah.
So the idea that you could grow weed and here's a way to do it and not have seeds, and then you didn't listen to all the fucking whining and sniveling. Well, I only got this many joints out of it now, that kind of shit. Well, here it is, man. It's just straight up. Well, it's got a lot of stem, then you get into the stems and all that shit. But yeah, it's how the what do you call it? The industry developed. But yeah, seedless. There wasn't seedless. What you're talking about is that this Thai thing only lasted maybe a year, and then boom, you had farms in Mexico growing weed and then tying it on to bamboo slivers of bamboo stick. You could spot them a mile away that they weren't real Thai sticks. Real Thai sticks were tied with silk thread, red. Okay, because that's a color that represents a lot of things in Thailand, in art and their religion, gold and red. But when they went to Mexico and started doing them, it's like they went to the local Joann's sewing center and bought fucking thread, to tie because they were actually tied on the stick, the buds, the little buds are tied on the stick. But yeah, there were so many knockoffs. That's too bad,
There's a lady on Instagram that showed the factory and like recently what they do. I can share that.
Yeah, these and the first ones that came in that I saw was
That's
70.
what they do now. They go in break instead of tying it all together. But
Okay.
that's what
Yeah.
they do now.
No, this wasn't. This was you could just look at it and see that this was a real, and I don't mean this in a denigrating way, but very much a cottage industry. This was as raw as it gets. Nothing this sophisticated like this at all.
Yeah, that lady is pretty cool. Sometimes she go in some cool field. I can maybe scroll down.
Wow.
That's some seeds that she given to a guy that
There you go.
she's
That's what
trying.
Tide looks like. There you go. Yeah.
So that's one of the female that the guy will breed with.
Yeah. That's what
They
real
got
pot
some.
looks like. I mean,
That's the snake teeth that she called it.
Look at that. That's gorgeous. That's like the smoke. Fuck.
Yeah, I like when you do that, but people don't like the fact that it's not dense
Fuck 'em.
flower.
Tell them to grow their own. Fuck them.
Yeah,
I'm serious.
Yeah. I've seen some stuff that was from Africa that had the dread like that was kind of crazy. It was really looking like the plant was just dreadlock of calyx like that instead of flower itself. I don't know if I can find a couple that she's over there because they grow some hybrid too. But
there you go.
Yeah, that's one of those nice field over there.
Look at that. That's gorgeous.
Here, I got one that's like exactly what you're talking about.
All right, I'll let you go.
This is someone grew a temple tie in the fucking grow tent.
Wow.
Yeah.
And the temple
Yeah.
tie is the most tallest giant plant that you
Yeah.
guys have
It
seen over there.
loops. Yeah, I can show you pictures of this in veg, but it's
But
looped down
look at
like
those
3 times.
flower. There's a
Yeah.
lot of flower on the side of the plant, man.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a fucking covered in resin. It's great washer too.
Yep.
That's really a
And this
overcharged flower plant. Wow. I don't
And
think you'll see that kind of thing on the retail market.
nope. Nope. No, it's got to look like shit.
It needs
It
to be
does.
dense with huge calyx and smell like fruity bubble
Yeah.
or gas
And it's got to
or
have a stupid name. Okay.
yeah.
That the name, you know, if you don't have the name, you're fucked.
Well,
Come on.
I wait to get my most skunkiest strain at one point and call it Pepe Le Pew, but I don't know if it's gonna pass.
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
that was a sweet. I was wrong. That's a sweet temple tie. I had to go back and reread it.
Oh, it's an hybrid then.
What about some good names like mental masturbation? Um,
Hmm. Yeah,
oh well.
enlightenment. No, is there?
There you go. That's raw weed.
It's
Beautiful.
not a huge diameter, but there's a fuck shit ton of them.
Yep.
Well, there's something to be said about the leaf calyx ratio, and there's something about the long flowering plant that will produce less and less leaf. So if you always defoliate your plant, I'm telling you, you're gonna get more leafy flower
Yeah.
on that type of thing. And I hate it when I've seen people like removing a lot of leaf at the end of flowering. I was like, yeah, it may work on some plant that are too bushy to get the more uniform, but it doesn't work on every strain. Did you get any other picture of those tie grown outdoor? I've seen a couple of guy
Yeah, there's
last year, but I cannot
a
remember
couple of them
who.
that have outdoor. I'm trying to remember the Instagrammers. There's a guy that's got one that's gigantic, like a pure temple tie, and it's like pushing up against the ceiling of his fucking tall greenhouse. I warn
Yeah,
everybody, I was like, you have to top these things like at least once a month until they flip. Otherwise, you're gonna have headaches. But people aren't listening.
like one of my friends was telling me, there are some of those replical plant that you may want to germ it. Be sure it's a female and clone and flower the clone, not the plant from seeds. And I was like, why you do that? It's like it just get too huge, man. It get taller before it start to flower when it from seeds, and mostly when you got big pots. It was like you forget that it should not be in a big pots like your other strain, and it just get huge. It, it's worth it, but you need to get the ceiling for it. Yeah.
So there's a one I created, mostly Thai. There's 3 different Thais in it. But anyway, so calling it CPR, Foods Private Reserve. That's what it looks like we get early stages of flowering.
Is that the one Agnes with the Pacalolo male or something like that?
No.
No? Okay, another one.
Yeah. I went through 100 seeds, get 2 keepers. But it's real, I wouldn't have any, what do you call it? Commercial value because it doesn't have whatever. it tastes like Thai. Really hardcore, tropical. No, Afghani at all.
Interesting. I was wondering, your Kerala Thai cross something.
Oh, my God, I'm so sorry I lost those seeds.
You've lost it?
I don't have, I'm fucked.
This is the same
Yeah.
plant a few weeks ago, and then this is its
Yeah.
sister, which is farther behind. But you can see like
Gorgeous.
this one has more of those genetics. But look, these branches are looped down all around like a fucking roller coaster, trying to keep it in this tent because it's really not. It's too big of a plant. But you can see the number of tops on this thing is nuts.
Oh, I know. It's gorgeous.
But yeah, this is the sweet simple ties.
Wow.
that guy was growing. We're gonna be doing a big pheno hunt here in starting in 2 or 3 weeks. We're getting ready for nursery production and all the rest of it. But while we're filling out the rest of our fucking paperwork and renewals for the year, we're gonna start pheno hunting everything. So I'm gonna be popping a whole bunch of cool shit. Like hand picking a whole bunch of the best shit. I'm gonna get some stuff from Bob Hemphill. I got some cool shit from Happy Tree Farms. I got a bunch of cool dope shit that we're gonna be growing. Some stuff from Dutch. So a bunch of I'm gonna, as soon as I can get a tent set up, I'm gonna do an open pollination with the Zimbabwe stuff because I've been meaning to do that for a while, and I have the space to do it now again. So
Yeah, that Zimbabwe stuff. What kind of flavor you had? Did you have that kind of peppery, musky stuff on it? Is that one?
the Zim stuff is really pinene dominant. It's like
Pinene.
pinene, and there's also like this like, for lack of a better term, like whiskey smelling kind of terp to it.
Yeah.
It has like a, I don't know, just kind of smells like a smoked whiskey a little bit, like a hint of that flavor, for lack of a better term.
I gotta go, but I gotta leave you with this one.
Sure.
So I'd never heard of this organization or thing till about 8 years ago. I had a phone call from Tad Hussey, the Kiss Organics, and he told me about this thing called Instagram. Well, first he said IG, and I said, "What's IG?" He says, "Instagram," or "What's Instagram?" So anyway, I got an account and hung out there for a while. I canceled it, but I decided to jerk some change, and so I took a picture of the TO and did a close up, and really nice, and told a bunch of people that the name of it was COMA. It was an acronym for the crack of my ass. So when people ask you, well, what does it smell like? It smells like coma, man. And anyway, it became a running joke. Some people that I know that are know better than I do took great offense at it, and it became a big bone of contention because I wasn't taking it seriously. All these silly ass names.
My favorite, I was at Emerald Cup one year, and they had a strain one of the vendors did called Cokehead Slut. And I was just imagining like
Jesus
some
Christ.
poor 22-year-old bud tender trying to explain to like a 70-year-old lady why like she wants Cokehead Slut in the morning to like get up and want to do stuff like.
Yeah, but don't worry, they've crossed it with sugar teeth.
Right, yeah, cross the sugar tits for grandma,
For grandma. No, I think it's the pink panties for grandma.
Right. The pussy liquor.
There's a God's pussy, and I think it's DJ Short that have got that one or something like that. And when you ask him what it smell like, he's like, "Well, just picture what the cat pussy would smell like."
So there's like a pasta company that has like I forget what it's called, but it's like has like a bunch of different like try like offensive names for it, like fuck you soup or like I feel like shit soup and so yeah. I thought it'd be funny if someone did a whole seed line and they're all just like completely like balls to the wall, like you know,
Well,
you
there's
know,
that high
not
divorce rate. It's really a name of strain, high divorce rate. There is a couple like that I found it quite like. I don't know what happened in your life, dude, but I just want to smoke some weed.
right.
You gotta love it.
Yeah,
All
I
right,
found
guys,
it
I
funny.
gotta run.
Saddam's secret stash.
Yeah.
All right, have a good one, Coot.
All
Yeah,
right,
thank
man.
you. I've passed by.
See you.
Bye bye. Have a good one. Bye bye.
Cheers.
Yeah,
All
we've
day.
got some. Yeah, we've got some good visit tonight. Uh, the name game is something that I would like to address at one point in another show,
I think it's
but
the
yeah.
most important, probably the most important thing when you're trying to market a product.
No, it's really important, but
It's
it
super
just
important.
that we've turned into infringement with
Well,
the existing name. We've turned into silly stuff like high divorce
yeah, but
rate or something like that.
when people shop by THC number, not by like terp and smell, and like like yeah, what do you expect?
Well, it's funny. I had a friend back then that never wanted to say what was the name of the strain when he was given what it's supposed to be or it really is for a different reason. And one of them, for him, it was kind of silly and you can never trust them. And I was like, well, if you stop, if every real name that you have been given to you stop at you and now you call it whatever, you're surely not helping what you're claiming, that it's a bit silly. So I'm just yeah, I can understand sometimes we cannot really verify, but there's something that is a bit stupid is let's say I get a group of seeds and I give it to you and Steve. And both of you guys have different pheno, a tiny bit different flavor, but it's the same breed. If it's not even a cross sometime, it's the same freaking things. You got different pheno in it, and you guys select both one or different. And now you call it differently. And now, let's say 5 years later on, people cross it together thinking that those two strains should go well together without knowing they are just sisters from the same exact group of seeds. So will
Diaper
it be, I don't know. It just gets silly. It's hard to trace.
some diaper Dookie Diesel.
I think it would take now.
I
Oh, it sounds
I
good.
would I'd be
The
like
triple D.
a couple grams of that. What's that diaper dookie drizzle? Yeah.
Yeah, but there's nothing that tell me there's not a dildo hiding in the D. So I don't know. There's always a couple D that I suspect being a dildo, or I don't know. Even with dill pickle, I've seen some shocking stuff being done with the dill pickle. I've
Oh
never
man,
seen the dill pickle the same after, like in batter, put in a deep fryer. Holy crap! I did not even know it was a thing, but now I'm happy to know I've missed something.
Riot seeds.
Are we talking about math tonight? It's a bit late to start on math. Come on.
yeah, it's a lit this Matt requires.
Yeah, it is late to go into Mount Riot, but I
Oh,
just
that's him that made the coconut slot. Okay. I,
yeah.
I think I think
That
we should.
you know what?
Okay, it's just a bit sad because I've heard him say that he would not go on other show. Because I would like to have him talk about it. He's a funny guy.
We go on his show.
I would like to go on his show to talk about it. Yeah, maybe. But I think Steve would be a good candidate to talk about. Yeah. But honestly, I've trolled in his chat a couple times, and I think Matt is a good player. He can take some shot and give some, and I don't know. Whatever you think about him, I think for his humoristic side, he got he got it. He can laugh of himself and laugh of you if you want to. I'm good with that, you know. But anyway, I think it's quite funny that his name had a strain like that. What is
Yeah.
his experience with it? I would have to know because he's a kind of punker guy, you know. He got some stuff.
Septic tank surprise, moldy basement sativa.
Moldy basement.
There's cat piss delight, but I'm pretty sure I've seen that in a shelf somewhere.
Yeah, but you need to grow it in the Sunny Delight jug, DWC, so that each
It'd
of
be
your
funny.
jug is not at the same place every night because it's so
I wonder if you could
right
like
in the jug.
just water a plant the whole cycle with Sunny D. Like that would be funny to do like a grow contest and try like Coca-Cola, Sunny D, milk, like different beverages as the water.
Well,
Instead,
when when
like
when
idiocracy,
Marduber,
they call it the idiocracy challenge. And do like one with Gatorade and just put like a fake Brondo thing
I
on it.
don't know if you guys
Mountain Dew
remember
didn't stop growing.
Marduber was trying at one point to do a test crop using some, I think it was Bang Energy or something like an energy drink, and he found like he was like, okay, I will add a certain amount with my normal regimen, and another one I will feed it only with that. And what he found out is that at the end, with his result, it did not turn the more narcotic indica into an energetic sativa effect. I was sad because I was trying to bet on that one, but he said that it's really good to add some
It's gonna be
micro
an expensive
mineral and
experiment.
lower the pH.
This is gonna be an expensive
500?
experiment.
Why it's 500?
75 bucks for a cheaper one.
What is so expensive about that one? Is it like a pure death
They only
energy
made
drink?
it was a short time thing.
Okay, but that one is open
Oh,
at
this one's open.
75
Fuck
bucks.
this guy.
Come on.
Fuck this guy. No, I want to
Is it a
unopen.
leftover at for 75 bucks?
There we go. This one's unopened.
Yeah, but it's 550.
Yeah, but I'm saying it's gonna be an expensive experiment if we do Brondo. Have actual Brondo.
Yeah, I don't want to roll over any car with the Bronco. Oh no, it's a Bronco. Sorry.
I was like, oh, can you get them new now? Hold on. This might change everything. Yeah, all right.
I just beside the plant.
The
You
12
see?
pack is 60 bucks. All right, we're doing it. We're
But they
doing
say
it.
with the super plant mix. Look on the right, man. You got the plant and the energy drink. It get electrolyte.
We could do regular Brondo versus Brondo energy drink plant one.
This is, yeah, electrolyte that human and plant crave. It say on it. And I've never seen energy drink sold with a plant.
Yeah. It's pretty great, actually. Why has no one thought of this before? Mike Judge is over here fucking killing it on the fucking grow the nutrient scene while everyone else is struggling.
Man, that's so funny. Because it's really talk about the plant. Brondo super plant makes deliver an unparalleled burst of energy, perfect for anyone looking to say, no.
Are you powering through a workout, a long day at work, an intensive gaming session, Brondo super plant mix? is your go-to source for sustainable energy and hydration. Embrace the synergy of nature with Brando. Huh.
It's really kind of confusing the way they say it. Okay, I understand that it got some plant stuff in it and it may be good for plant too, but it's not like sold as a fertilizer additive. But it got electrolyte.
I don't know, man. Feel like we need to see if this works.
Well,
Although I feel,
I wonder if you put some energy drink in your aquaponics system, is your fish will lack of sleep?
no, so we went over this
Are
before.
they gonna jump out
Red
the
Bull,
pound?
Red Bull and what is it? Whatever 150. That's over
Yeah.
in Thailand. It's like pure vitamin B, so you can use it as like a rooting hormone.
The fish grow
But
rich.
it's really low pH.
Yeah.
I did not know I could. So if I do let's say a deep water culture cloning stuff, I could maybe put some Red Bull a bit in it and
Well,
let it go like that.
there's also a pale ale called Drake's Brewing Company Brondo, the Thirst Mutilator, which is either a knockoff, an illegal knockoff, or a branded thing. It's like a beer, but it doesn't look the same. Ooh.
Okay.
There's a wine cooler called Brondo. That's man, there's a lot of knockoff brands, I guess is the point of this.
Agnes Osmakot was the shit. Well, I don't want to digress with you, but now you're out of the game because you're supposed to have the grow that and what else they have anyway. But when I was arguing with everyone that you just need to order with extra nitrogen in it or whatever you want like that, a 60 day, a 90 day, or a 120 days. 120 day was always something you don't want to get because you're gonna end up with a taste of your leaking electric plug with the 220 on it. It tastes like I don't know. It gonna pop and crack and whatever if you use the longer release one. But it's a smoke out, man. It's a smoke out. It just the technology of it. It's just a slow release fertilizer. It's what people were using in the 80s to grow their remote patch with just a handful of fertilizer. I mean, it's not a news. I don't understand why you want to grow with that in cocoa. It work, but it makes some of the most bland stuff if you use it. It's to me, it's a bit like the lazy things. And if you want to upgrade to that style of stuff, you go with Athena, right? It's kind of really bland produce what come out of it. You can get some good weed, but you can use better stuff than that. I don't know. Not the best. I don't say it's the worst, but I don't think it's that good.
Anybody, Coach, anything you want to announce before we close it off?
All right, man. I will let you go to sleep.
Yeah, we can run.
I'm fucking bagged.
You're good. I had a long day too. It was a lot of walking the properties and measuring buildings and figuring out where foundations are going for this project. So dogs got a lot of running in today. It was good.
They're always happy.
Yeah, they're happy when they get to go to the
You
grows.
can tell they're quiet tonight. They haven't been around.
Yeah, they've been out like zombies since we got back. So alrighty. It was fun.